everyone, welcome back. We are on our final content week. Like I said, I am going to do sorry, I just want to get more center frame. I am going to do a bonus week that talks a little bit about me, my background, and just kind of some background information on me, but that is next week. And this week, we are finishing up strong, talking about the rainbow. And so I really like talking about this because it is uh it has changed. It is a symbol that has changed. That's what I want to say. So originally, when we were looking at rainbows, we go all the way back to Genesis. Like many things, it originates in the Bible. And that comes out in Genesis 9. God's talking to Noah, and he had just flooded the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. And God puts a rainbow in the sky to demonstrate his covenant with the people, that's all people everywhere, that he will not flood the earth again. He will never destroy the earth like he did. That is his covenant that he made to all the people through Noah, right? So right from that, you should get that rainbows are going to symbolize promise, right? It is a promise. Every time you look up in the sky and see a rainbow, it is first and foremost a promise. It's a little fuzz floating around. I don't know if you can see it. So that's one. Additionally, though, the rainbow is also going to symbolize peace, right? There's the peace in that moment. There's peace between God and man in that moment. And even looking at a rainbow, it is very peaceful. And then it also goes to that hope that comes with the rainbow. And I think it's always the case if you see a rainbow. Obviously, it comes after the rain, and we'll talk more about that. But everybody kind of like posts pictures of it and is sort of excited about it. There is something majestic about a rainbow. And again, it has morphed, right? So that is original symbolism. It has morphed because what it used to be is not what it is anymore. At one point, it morphed from promise and peace to luck, right? So that's one turn, and that whole luck of the Irish, lucky charms, like rainbow, pot of gold at the end, it kind of morphed into something that was very intentional, promise and peace, into something that is sort of haphazard, which is luck. Like, oh, well, maybe if you're lucky, right? So it sort of went to, I don't know if I'd say the opposite of the original meaning, but it definitely shifted in connotation. And then in 1978, so we're talking pretty recent events as far as human history is concerned, right? If Genesis is written in or if Genesis is taking place in, 3000 BC, then 1978 is pretty recent, right? Like something that happened 5,000 years ago versus something that happened 42 years ago. So in 1978, the LGBTQ community took the flag and they made it their symbol of pride, which again is fine as far as flags go. And I think that probably there is a sense of peace in that for those people who were hiding their identities, and now they have the freedom to be at peace with themselves, right? So I do think that there is, a correlation to some degree, but the pride idea of the LGBTQ community, that the rainbow flag is gay pride, is not at all the original symbolism. And actually, I would even go so far as to say that it is the opposite, because pride is the opposite of peace, right? When you're peaceful, you're content, you are at one, you're very zen, you're very calm, right? And like, for example, God is peace, right? And he's all those things. And then when you have pride, and this is not me coming at the LGBTQ community, because it has nothing to do with that. I'm talking about rainbow as a symbol here. But pride, which is now a lot of what we see the rainbow as now on the flag, has to do with pride. Pride is almost the opposite of peace. Because when you're prideful, you're not at peace. You're trying to one up. You want to seem higher than everybody else. And if we're talking about archetypes and issues, honestly, I'm just going to say it here, part of why we have controversy in this world is because Satan was prideful and he rebelled against God, right? So pride is a they say pride goeth before a fall, right? Pride, and I'm not saying gay pride, I'm just saying pride as a concept, as a construct, is at one with at odds with peace. It is not at one, right? There are two different things on the spectrum. So when we see rainbows now, we associate it with pride, and more specifically gay pride. But what we should be seeing and what we should be knowing is that rainbows are actually the opposite. They're peace and they're promise, right? And that has nothing to do with whether you believe in Christ or not. I don't care. You know, that's just archetypal literature. That's what it is, right? So we also want to be very aware energetically. If you're familiar at all with the chakra system is chakra is just spinning wheel, right? And I'm actually going to talk next season about circles and wheels and energy and things like that. Although I did talk a little bit about energy at the beginning of this season. But with wheels, right, and with spinning wheels, it's kind of like a energy center. And so I think this kind of stems out of Indian culture, not Native American, but like actual Indians from India culture. And I could be wrong about that, but I know it is very much in that civilization. And it's coming over here to America, but it didn't start here. And it's this idea that we are energy beings, which we are, right? And I think I've talked to you about that enough. I'm not going to go into it, but the 7 points of energy that are like fully concentrated are the chakra system, the 7 main chakra systems. We have a lot of little wheels of energy, but the main 7, if you don't know, you want to guess what color they are? Roy G. Biv, right? The rainbow. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. So we should also be very aware of the fact that according to some belief systems, and it is one I actually do believe myself, and I'll tell you why in a minute, but the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet in us mimics the rainbow, which I think is so cool, right? And every color and every chakra, they all have different meanings, right? And then they all come together to be this really beautiful, harmonious, peaceful, promising, unique entity. You see what I mean now about rainbows? And I will tell you why I believe in chakras. As a side note, my mom, one time when Borders Books, I don't know if anybody remembers, Borders Books was still a thing. And my mom was in the bookstore because she loved books, and so did I, and we all love books. And so she was looking at, I don't even know what, looking at some bookshelf. And this man kept kind of going back and forth behind her, and she kind of was like, what is going on? And he was like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to startle you, but your aura is so bright. It's this beautiful bright purple, and your third eye is just wide open. And then he went on, I'm not going to go into it, it's not my story to tell, but he went on to tell her very personal things about her life that she was like, nobody has ever known. And I don't know how this man knew them. And he said at the end, he was like, you know, and you've had 2 men who've disappointed you, but a third one is God is sending a third one on your path. And, you know, that's the person you're supposed to be with. And my mom at that time was like 37 or 38. She had 3 teenage kids. Like she had 2 men who had disappointed her, to be perfectly honest, my dad being one of them. But she kind of was like, oh, well, he was right up until that point, right? And then not even a year later, my stepdad, who wasn't my stepdad, but who is now my stepdad, entered the picture, right? And so she kind of wrote that experience off. I did not. because I've studied chakras and I study energy and I study the Bible and I studied a lot of things. And so when I started hearing words like aura and third eye, if we know anything about the chakra system, the third eye is purple and it means you're very intuitive. And my mother is and has always been extraordinarily intuitive, right? And I have my own theory about chakras and auras. I'm not getting into it now, but so we know, red is the root chakra, orange is your sacral chakra. Let me just actually jump. Red is your root chakra, which means you're grounded, you're rooted. It's at the base of your pelvis, right? Orange is your sacral chakra. It is power, sexual energy, emotion, things like that. Yellow is in the middle. It's your solar plexus. This is also power, but it's a different type of power. It's not like sexual energy power. It's like your confidence power. Your heart chakra is right in the middle, and it's green, and it is, love, of course. Your throat chakra is blue, and has to do with how you communicate. Your third eye chakra is purple, and then your crown chakra is, depends on what you believe, actually, because it's really like technically supposed to be indigo and violet, right? So it's like a blue purple and a purple, and that's your connection to the divine, right? So really the idea does nicely, it mirrors what the rainbow does, and it mirrors what we do as people, which is starting at the ground, reaching to the sky, right? And then the rainbow does that as well. It starts on the ground, hypothetically, and goes up into the sky and comes back down. And we as people are both spirit beings and earth beings. So they all really nicely come together. And again, if you don't believe in the chakra system, that's totally fine. It's a very interesting study. And long story short, if you believe in it, it mirrors the rainbow in the sky. Another study for another day that we won't get into is color symbolism, which is a fascinating study, and colors are their own level of archetype, to be perfectly honest, because every color has a dual meaning and an opposite meaning, like the archetypal symbols, right? So if we're looking at blue, it is both calm and depression and sadness, right? And so it's like, well, how can you be so calm but also so sad? How could you be both, right? And so it depends on the context. Green is life and like vibrant, and then also greed and often I think it's associated with envy, like you're green with envy. So greed and jealousy, and so it's that idea of like, how can you be so life-giving and also be jealous and envious, right? So different study for a different day. I will just actually mention yellow because it's so much fun. Yellow is going to be life and vibrant and positive, and it's also going to be like death and decay. Things that turn yellow are dying, and you think about autumn, you think about wedding dresses that go yellow if they don't get stored properly. It's a really, really cool study. Anybody who's ever read The Great Gatsby, which is literally probably everybody. I was going to grab my copy and I just didn't feel like it. If you've ever read The Great Gatsby, color symbolism is rampant there and like such a cool study. I used to do it with my students. But anyhow, so the rainbow. Let's get back to the rainbow being peace and promise, hope, and sort of unique individuality, and also spiritual earth connection, right? All those things. What does that mean for us? What does that mean for us? It means we have access to peace all the time. And I really want us to get that. We have the ability and the capacity to be peaceful all the time. I'm not saying the world is peaceful, because the world's not peaceful. The world is in a state of conflict, and it is going to be in a state of conflict. This hair, I can't mess with this hair right now. It's like coming over my ear. It's just so uncomfortable. Anyway, the world is in a state of conflict. The world will be in a state of conflict. There will not be peace. I'm just going to throw that out there. Beware if peace comes to the world, because we have and you can clearly see it in the United States, right? I'm not doing anything profound in telling you that there's a very great divide between people in the world, but especially in the United States, where we have right and left, we have, I almost said right and wrong, but I don't want to say that because everyone's entitled to their belief system. But right and left, we have conservative and liberal, we have red and blue, right? And so with those divisions, we have very specific belief systems that are contradictory. And so the world we're not going to be in a state of peace. If there comes, and you can just mark my words here on 12/21/2020, which I also want to mention because big celestial event coming tonight, but I don't want to get too spiritual, but we are talking about rainbows, right? So with the idea of peace, world peace, which everybody I know wants, but the only way peace will come, and you can mark this here, I've said it first, is if we get a ruler who comes that has the power to unify the world. And if that happens, we really want to beware. We really want to beware, because anytime there is seemingly large amounts of peace, it's almost always a tyrant at the helm. Like, just look to world history. I'm not showing you anything new here, right? When there was peace in Germany, there's really unrest. When we have a utopia, it's really a dystopia. Anytime things seem so peaceful and so good and so prosperous, there's always trouble, right? And this is the whole dystopian genre. So we're not going to have world peace because we have way too many different people with way too many belief systems. And if anybody comes and brings everyone together in a peaceful way, watch out. History tells us that is a problem. But, and here's the rainbow of it all, right? We can have our own peace. We can have our own peace. And we have the ability to go within ourselves and cultivate peace. If you're a Christian, Jesus died to give you peace. So you got it. You might need to work on it. You got it. If you're not a Christian, that doesn't mean you can't have peace, right? Just because you don't believe on Christ, who cares? You can still have peace, right? You're a person. You've got the rainbow. You've got the promise. You've got the option for peace. I read something the other day that I thought was really, really cool. And it was this idea of don't be a soda bottle, be a water bottle. What does that mean? It means if you are the bottle and the contents inside are your emotions, if you get knocked over or knocked around or someone tries your emotions and you're a soda bottle, you're going to open that lid and everything's going to explode. And then you're going to have nothing, no contents left, right? You've lost your peace. But if you're a water bottle and you shake up the water bottle and you open it up, contents are still there because you're very peaceful. You're not frazzled. You're peaceful. And I love that imagery. And I think it works really nicely with the idea of the rainbow because rain causes rainbows, right? Water. But we all have the option for peace. It takes time to cultivate. It takes personal mastery, right? We don't really teach a lot of personal mastery, which is why I coach on personal mastery, because I didn't have personal mastery. My emotions, my power, all of it went shoop. And then, I realized the importance of having your inner peace. It is everything, right? And now I will not ever put myself in a situation where I lose my peace. The minute you lose your peace is the minute you lose your power. So if you're not feeling peaceful about a situation, don't do it. This comes with self-awareness. This comes with personal mastery, etc., etc. But back to peace. So important. If you see a rainbow in the sky, you should know, hope you watched this, you should know that rainbow's a promise that I can have peace, and there's the option, should I decide, my choice, to be peaceful. It does take work. And I know this is I really ended it on a heavy hitter, right? You thought, oh, it's going to be rainbows and butterflies, right? It's all rainbows and butterflies. That's what they say, right? But there's a lot that comes with the rainbow. You got to go through the rain. You got to go through the work. And I know you're going to be really excited here, guys. The bonus week next week, I'm talking about butterflies. It's so good. I know. So it really is all rainbows and butterflies. I have had such a fun time talking to you guys this season. I'm obviously still doing the podcast and everything that I need to do to finish out the week. And we're at the end of 2020. Weirdly, I don't even know how that happened. And we are moving into 2021. So I'm just going to say one more celestial note. I know I'm a little over time, so bear with. But tonight is the conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter, right? It's the once in our lifetime event. We're not going to see it again. And for those of, us who are Christians, we're kind of relating it to the Christmas star. Cool. But more than that, it's the darkest day of the year, and it's this huge symbol of light. So as I'm talking about not necessarily having world peace or not necessarily having the option of a peaceful world view, because we're clearly in a state of dissension right now in a big way, the message that we should get from this star, quote unquote star, it's not a star, right? Just two planets reflecting the sun. But the message, the symbolic message we should be getting is that even in the darkest times, there is still light, right? Harry Potter says it. This is an archetypal construct, and you're seeing it lived out in this day and age, right? So this is why this work is so relevant. This is why it's for all things natural, look to nature, because we have so many seasons and signs that come from nature. And that is a sign that tells us that even though this is a dark season, there's still hope, there's still light, and there's still good things to work on. And your inner peace, that rainbow of yourself, is one of them. So I'll see you guys next season and next week for the bonus content. And it's been such a great experience talking to you guys.